الهيئة العامة للسياحة والآثار، ملتقى السفر والاستثمار السياحي،
My name is Carole Favre, and I'm here today to talk about excursions and to talk about product development when it comes to excursion. So, I am a very hyperactive and dynamic presenter, and I will need your participation to make sure that this is a success. So I have a couple of exercises and activities that I would like you to do with me, and I will be asking questions. I know it's rather noisy here, so please, please, please just shout at me. I will come and do my best to talk to you. If you want to come closer to me, that's okay. I don't bite. I will not eat you for breakfast. Okay, so today I have three objectives. What I would like to do is, first of all, have a look at tourism in Saudi Arabia and see the kind of market trends. Then the second objective is to find out if we can find any kind of relevance to what is happening all over the world with regard to worldwide tourism trends and how we can apply them to the Saudi markets. And the third one is to give you a small exercise to try to see if you can come up with some creative ideas of new excursions that you could implement on in the country. So, first of all, let's look at tourism in Saudi Arabia. What's very interesting is that there is a lot of potential and a lot of things to be done. So if we have a look at the first kind of issue with the country, the main problem is that a lot of people are leaving the country when they go on holiday, and the government is making a lot of effort to try to stop this exodus of domestic tourists going abroad. So the focus now is really to be able to try to retain this tourism here in the country and to have people enjoying leisure time in Saudi Arabia rather than going to Dubai or Abu Dhabi or any other countries, or even to the UK. So if we look at it, what we have is we have very strict entry visa for people to come to the country. However, to balance that, which is a negative impact, which is a negative fact, we have a lot of people leaving the country as well. You have a very fast growing and large population. In less than 10 years, apparently Saudi Arabia will represent 60% of the whole population of the region. So when we think about potential market for domestic tourism, it is enormous. But we have very few activities for the market, hence the reason why people are leaving the country. Out of this growing population, you have an enormous number of young people. It is a very, very young society with the spirit and the dynamism and the needs of young people who want to do new things. However, there is not enough to do for them. Then we have fantastic natural and cultural heritage. But again, that's not exploited. Very few people know about it. Yesterday on the flight here, I sat next to a businessman who is from Belgium, and he's used to come to Saudi Arabia all the time. And when I talked about tourism, he really asked me, but what is there to do? I do not know what there is. But that knowledge, I wonder, or that lack of knowledge, is it a problem that actually has to do with foreigners coming in? But does it also apply to the domestic market? Are people fully aware of what's really interesting in your country? Then we have a very welcoming population. Now this is good, you know, when I do my research, I read this of a lot of tourism destinations. Yes, we are very welcoming. Yes, we always have a smile on our face. And then you go to the country and you might be rather disappointing. I have to say, since I've arrived, actually, I have been incredibly surprised at how welcoming people have been. So truly, I really predict that the hospitality of the local people is going to be something that you will have to sell and you will have to promote, because I have to say this is a real strength of the destination. However, there are still things that you need to be trained on. For example, at the hotel, I was asking for some flexibility on how I could stay longer, and I was told, no, you know, it's not possible, nothing can change. These are the procedures. When we talk about tourism, we don't talk about procedure. We talk about meeting the needs of the customers. We don't talk about systems. Systems are boring. Systems are not exciting. Systems are not human. Now, what makes the tourism industry very different from any other is that it is based on human contact and on human interaction. So what matters is what the tourists want and what we can do for that tourist to meet their needs. And then we have a buoyant country full of, I would say, enthusiasm to create business, but we don't have this connection between what the people want to do, what the tourism industry want to do, and the clients, and how we can keep them in the country. What is it that we can do to convince them that they should not be leaving Saudi Arabia? So, enlighten me. I've done my research, but I need to know, what are the main types of tourists here for the domestic market in Saudi Arabia? This is my first question. And of course, if I ask a question, I need an answer. So, yes, madam? Okay, so what you're saying is that in Saudi Arabia there are people who are really interested in actually enjoying ecotourism. Okay, fair enough. What kind of people are these? What are they? Okay, but are they independent tourists? Are they young? Are they old? Older people? So do we have a target market of older people who want to enjoy things? No? Okay, good. So what do we have then, sir? Pardon? Families, very good. Okay, so one of the major, the biggest target market actually in the countries are families. Another? Yes? Pardon?
Football and tourism.
Sport tourists. Okay, so who are sport tourists? Usually they are men? Young? Old, young and old men? Okay, good. So we have men. I have to say, I'm not a fan of sports. I do a lot of it, but I would not watch it or go to it. So yes, I would agree with you. So we have maybe men on their own who want to enjoy, then families, then?
We have heritage, adventure.
Okay, so these are types of tourism. I'm asking for types of tourists. Yes, sir.
Tourists for the religion.
Okay, so you have religious tourists. Okay, very good. Any other types of tourists? Yes? And business tourists. Okay, yes. Actually, business tourism does not represent a lot of the market when we're talking about people that come in. Technology. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes, very good. So let's have a look at some of the research that was done in the country. So we have families, absolutely, the largest market. We then have expats. No one mentioned expats, but you have a fair amount of people here, foreigners living here. Actually, you have the least of all the region. You only have 20% of the population that is expat. In Qatar, it's 80, so it's a lot more. However, these people have got time because they live here, and they also have money because they are very high earners. So in order, you know, as a niche market, it's a very interesting one. The great thing about them is that they are adventurous and they want to enjoy different things because they want to get out of work and they want to discover the country. Then we have business tourists, absolutely. Now what's interesting is that most of the business trips are done by people that travel on their own, unless it's for conferences. So it's interesting to see that it's not large groups of business people traveling together, but only single people, single men traveling together for business. And then the last, but not least, is the youth market. And the youth just wants to do as much as they can, yes, because they are adventurous. So again, looking at these types of tourists, you then need to start thinking, okay, what kind of product can I create for them? Yes, that are going to meet their needs. So after looking at tourist types, we need to look at tourist motivations. So, with whom do you travel? When you travel in Saudi Arabia, the majority of the trips are made how? On your own? Yes, no? With families. Okay, very good. Actually, compared to many other countries in the world, you are very family-oriented when it comes to traveling. And it will be the family member or friends that are going to make decisions on how and where you're going to go. So if you have a look at this, the family is really the majority, the main reason why and how you travel. But friends and relatives are also very, very important. What's interesting is the traveling with the spouse, with your wife. So again, are there products here that cater for couples? And what can we do in order to meet that niche? Okay. And tell me, what for do you travel? What is the main reason for travel here in the country? Leisure. Very good. Yes, absolutely. So if we have a look, leisure, then visiting friends and family. But obviously, if you visit friends and family, you also are going for leisure and you want to do things with friends and family. So are there any products that cater for larger groups of people who know each other and want to spend time together, but that are of different ages? Because we call that multi-generational travel, where you have elder people, their children who are parents, and then their grandchildren, and then maybe friends together. So what is it that you're doing to cater for that market? And then we have a look at what matters most when people travel. Now, this is a study that was done for outbound market, what people are looking for when they leave the country. However, it can tell us a few things. So if we have a look at this, what is the most important really are these. People are looking for value for money. Because you travel in family, it is very important that you actually do not spend too much money. However, there is a price to pay for holidays. Yes, it needs to be realistic because the tourism industry is not a charity. You need to make money, that's for sure. Then we have this sense of adventure. If you have a look at that, 34% of people are looking for doing new things, new destination. Yes, so they want to discover something. And this is why they're going abroad. They want to go to new places. that discovery can happen in different locations, but it also can happen by doing different things. It's not only just traveling to another country. What is it that you can do to engage people, to maybe show them another side of your country? And then they absolutely want to spend time together. Family time is very important, but it's time together as a couple, and it's time together as a family. So, we are now taking these motivations and we are trying to match them to the type of excursions that you could develop. So this is a type of tourist typology that is from the UK, where we divide the tourists in different areas. We look at their profile, their gender, their income, their level of education, and then we find out what they want to do. To my knowledge, none of this has been actually done in Saudi Arabia. And that's what you need. You need to find out what each type of tourist, so families, young people, what were the other two? Family, young people? Very good, thank you, you're listening. I will be checking. So if we take an example for the mainstream customer, which is usually the first question we would ask ourselves is how they travel, family and couples, what they're looking for, relaxation, sun. So these are people that probably would be likely to go where in Saudi Arabia? Which of destination might just meet their expectation? Yes, by the seaside, very good, exactly, okay. But what's interesting is that these people also want to experience some culture. They want to also learn about their own tradition, and they want to share this with their children. Then we have the achievers. Those achievers, they're usually couples, they travel on their own, and what they want is they want to learn about the destination. So are there similar types of tourists in your country? Can you relate that to the needs of maybe one type of tourist that we talked about earlier? Can you match that to one of these four types of tourists? Which one? Pardon? Yes, but I was relating to the expats, to the young people, to the family. Okay? This is because they travel more on their own and in couple. This type is much more young people and expats, definitely. And then a third example would be what we call the upper class. And it's only one type at looking at them. There are virtually dozens of models of tourist typologies that you could look at. And if we have a look at them, then these people have got much more money, so they will stay in different type of accommodation, and what they will require is very, very high level of expertise of the people that are guiding them. So that level of expertise is not needed for the mainstream tourists, but it is very much needed for those that are very well educated. So we might be talking about people that have got passions such as bird watching, for example. And then they would want an ornithologist. They would want people who know more than they do. And if they're passionate about something, they will know as well. And the same applies to culture. The same applies to religion, for example. So, what I would like you to do is very quickly look at this itinerary that's on the slide. And could you please match this itinerary to one of the four types of tourists that I mentioned? It's my turn to take a picture of everyone now. So, who would you offer such an excursion to? To which market? Yes, sir? Pardon? To expats? Okay, interesting. And young people? Well, this is fascinating because in the UK, we would offer this excursion to families. Because this is very soft, mild adventure. And this is something that families would be able to do together. So let's have a look at another example and see what you think about this. So this is another activity. Can you read this and tell me what type of tourists could experience that? Any idea? Yes, sir, at the back? Adventure tourists? Yes, I had 4 types of tourists at the beginning. So which one of those 4? Who were the most adventurous?
I would say this is for the family here,
Really?
with children.
Because of the level of adventure and risk that there is, that would actually be offered to young people or to expats. Because it's more, it's what we call, it's not as soft adventure as the other one. You are here, you are in the outback. Here you have to go really far away. So accessibility is very poor. So you need a certain level of adventure. And if you go and do these activities with children, it might be more complicated. So that's why. So this is fascinating to see the difference in perception of market, yes? So my role here is not to tell you you're right or you're wrong. That isn't my role. My role is to tell you this exists. How can it apply to your destination? Because we have different cultures. So let's have a look at some worldwide trends and let's see how that applies. My first question is my first question will soon be on the screen. Why do people really travel for? We can't really speak about excursions if we don't understand what the motivation of people is in the first instance. So can you give me some example? Yes, sir. Pardon? You have to shout. Entertainment. Okay, very good. Pardon? For relaxation, yes. Okay. To have new experiences. Okay, very good. I'm going to, yes, that's such a good idea. Yes, thank you. Okay, but what I want to know, I want to go a bit deeper because we've spoken about that already. What I want to know is what is really the reason inside you that pushes you to travel. These are reasons afterwards. I want to know what's in there, what's in your heart, what's in your stomach that says, I have to go and travel.
Do something different.
Do something different. Okay, why is it that you would need to do something different? To enjoy. Okay, well, to enjoy what? Okay, but so why do you need to have these new experiences? What is it that you're seeking? What is it that you're trying to do? Yes. You want to learn. Okay, very good. You want to learn. Yes.
discovering or
أشوف الناس عالم
To discover.
إيه نعم.
Okay.
أنا من النوع اللي أحب أطلع على كل شيء وخاطر.
Can someone translate? Sorry.
she's adventure and she wants to learn from other cultures.
Okay, very good. So this sense of discovery, it's appearing here. Is it a discovery of others or is it a discovery of yourself? Of yourself. Yes? A lot of people travel to find out about themselves via others. So let's have a look at a few reasons why people travel. To turn dreams into reality. To find ourselves. To escape boredom and constraints of works and daily chores, and to assert and gain social status. Let's not kid ourselves. A lot of people travel to come back and to say, I have been there, and you haven't. I have done this, and you haven't. And these are the experiences that I bring back. And this is the kind of person that I am. And I get reverence, and everyone looks at me and thinks, yes, this person is great. That person is very, very adventurous. So that is one of the main reasons. So by looking at these questions, what I want you to think about is how can you meet those needs? It is more than just having fun. It is about making sure that you answer all these questions. And then, what is the purpose of an excursion then? Can someone tell me, okay, the purpose of an excursion is to... Why do people take excursions? Yes? It's not working, sorry. That's an interesting concept. Okay, so to make the holiday more enjoyable. Okay, yes, but again, this is the surface. You're not digging deep enough for me. You need to dig deeper. Anyone? Okay, so to tick the boxes and to just have loads of different things to do, that's interesting. Okay, this is why people take excursions. You work in the travel and tourism industry. You are dream makers. You are memory makers. This is your role. Your role is to make sure that when people go back home, they have things to say to others. And when they spend time together as a family, they can remember the time that they have spent. So when you create excursions, what you have to do is you have to create an environment by which you create those memories and this family, especially here, since family time is so precious and so appreciated, which it isn't, in many other cultures. That is what you're doing. You're creating these memories for people to take back and to remember for the rest of their life. Sir?
I was going to say it's good memory maker.
Yes. You are not even good. You are unforgettable memory makers. That is what we are. Yes, definitely. They need to be unforgettable. So, what makes you happy? If I go on holiday, I want to be happy. I want to do things that are going to make me happy. What makes you happy? To do something different than what you're doing, usually, okay. To meet new people, okay, very good. Anyone else? What makes you happy, gentlemen? Learning something new. Anything else? Relaxing makes you happy, okay. Does money make you happy? No, it's a serious question. Does money make you happy? Sure. Yes. Okay. If you had to choose between those new adventures, these meeting people, this relaxation and money, what would make you happiest?
Place. Another place.
Another place, okay. Would it make you happier to have more money or to be happy in your life, have a wonderful family, be loved, go and have experiences, learn, meet new people? Which one do you choose? The next one, the last one?
أن أكون سعيدة في حياتي لا تهمني المال.
She's to be happy in her life. not-
To be happy in your life and to be happy in yourself. Very good. Okay. A lot of people think when they sell holidays that it is about the price. That the cheapest they will be, the more clients they will have. No, it doesn't work like that. It's about the quality of the experience. A lot of people will, and in the future, because this is changing, it used to be that the more money we had, the happier we were. But we really are changing. The world is changing. And now people are going to define themselves not by the amount of money that they have, but by the amount of experiences that they have, by how rich in quality their life is, and what they've been able to do in their life, rather than how much money and how many computers, you know, or game consoles, or you know, or cars they have in their backyard. Yes, because that's not what makes them happy. It's really what they do and the kind of activities that they can engage in. So very interestingly, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Millennials. Do you know this term? Yes? Millennials are a way to describe all the young people who will have reached the age of 20 by the year 2000. So it's a way to describe an entire target market. And these people, they have aspirations to live their life. Not to make that much money, but to make sure that they have as many adventures and experiences. Now this is interesting for you because you are a very, very young country. So we live in what we call an experience economy, where what is really important is to do this. It is to create these memories by giving experiences. It used to be before that we sold a product, like a car. We then sold a service. We had an after-sales service or a free insurance as part of the car. We don't advertise cars like that anymore. When you see an ad of a car, it is about doing something. There is always some kind of purpose, either going on an adventure or going to see the family and spending time together. It's not sold, you know, solely on a service concept. It's sold on an experience concept, yes? And if you take your car, then you will go somewhere really new, and then you will have memories of doing that. Every single product that you see that is being sold now is based on exactly that model. So what's very important when you create those memories is that people come home, have got these stories to tell, yes? And why is it important for you, for the tourism industry, that when people come home and have experienced one of your excursions, they tell those stories to others? Why does it matter? Pardon? No, but why does it matter to you, being part of the tourism industry, to make sure that you create a product and an experience that is so memorable that everyone's going to talk about it? Yeah, exactly. It increases the sales. But most importantly, it's free. It's free advertising. What's the point in spending money on advertising when you can do it for free? And the way you do it for free is by making sure your clients are happy. They come home, they then go on social media because you can't escape it, and they talk about it to everyone. Word of mouth. Yes? This is the most important thing in tourism. 90% of your business should be got by word of mouth. Not because you're cheaper than someone, but because you're the best at what you are doing and people are talking about you. if you search for me on Google, I will come up number 1 or number 2 on the Google search. I have not paid for this. I refuse to. What I do is try to do as much or as good as a job as I can so that people start talking about me. Yes? So that is important. That's how you get your value. By delivering excellence. So, let's have a look at some experiences that are very popular in the West. And let's see if we can apply them to the Saudi market to give you some ideas of product development. First of all, discover and create your own. There is a picture here of what are they doing? What is this? They're smelling, but they're smelling what? They're smelling perfume, yes? And that's, so the trend of creating something yourself and taking it home so that it reminds you of your holidays is something that is very appealing to tourists. And here is the example of creating your own perfume and taking it home. Now, is this something that you think could be done here? Yes? No, ladies? Do you think that this would be popular here? Create your own perfume from scratch, totally tailor-made to you, and then you keep it and you go home with it. Yes, absolutely. I've done a bit of research. So this is what I found. I found that you have an incredible market for perfume in this country, for different use, for guests, but also for personal use. So jump on that because there are some ideas, you know, and some experiences that you can create for women. Definitely. So another trend is this idea of what we call bleisure. Now, bleisure is a mixture of business and leisure. So yes, this is a new, in tourism we're fantastic at creating new trends and new words, yes? So you can go home today, I've learned something new. But when it comes to bleisure, what we are saying is that there is an increasing blur between the time that we spend on holiday and the time that we spend at work. Because we're always, all of us, with our mobile phone, with our computers, and it's very difficult to detach ourselves to detach the leisure from the business component. So again, you're going to have to think about what is it, how can I grasp that market of people that are going on business trips, but also might want to have some times when it comes to leisure. And how does that impact on the type of excursion, but also the length of the excursion? Because it might be, and also the timing of your excursions, because it might be that business people will have the time to have an excursion, but only for 1 hour and only at a certain time in the day. Maybe it's an evening excursion of 1 hour. So you have to also be creative when it comes to timing of the excursion, duration of the excursion, because it meets the needs, it needs to meet the needs, and the constraints of your clients. Another big trend on the market is meditation. Now, a lot of people take holidays and go on what we call yoga retreats, and they spend weeks or weekends just meditating to find themselves. Is the concept of meditation something that you could apply to this country? And I am not talking about yoga. I'm not a fan. But I am talking about the concept of meditation itself. Don't you meditate? Are there opportunities? When do you meditate? I'm asking this question because actually, yes, you do meditate. But I would like to know how you do it. Very good. That's exactly what I was. Yes, during prayer time. Absolutely. So, there might be an opportunity here to extend this concept of meditation and to apply it to your religion. Is there anything that can be created? If I have a look at a few facts, when I did the research on meditation and Islam, I actually found out that it was one of the pillars of the religion. Yes? So, could you maybe think of a way to apply this concept of retreats to Islam and to create experiences around religion, around meditation, around prayer? I think this could be possible. Absolutely. Okay, active tourism, adventure tourism, yes? So that's another big trend. What kind of adventure can you offer me in Saudi Arabia?
Desert.
Pardon? Desert adventure. Okay, but what am I going to do? What kind of activities are going to really rock my world? Camel riding. I love camel riding, so I will go camel riding, definitely. Diving. Okay, brilliant. Any other adventurous activities I can enjoy in?
We go desert and we see the.
And you just walk. Okay, so can I hike in the desert? I can camp. Okay, good. So are these activities that are already entirely packaged and available that I can purchase tomorrow? Yeah, I've got some people who are very optimistic and are saying yes. Some others who are saying absolutely not. So the idea is that you have to be aware of what could be done. If I have a look at certain activities that are available in other regions, I've got mountain biking in Oman, horse riding in Abu Dhabi. If I look at Africa, we have fat biking. I don't know if you know that. It's bicycles with very fat wheels, and they are really fantastic for desert. And then land sailing. Can I do any of those here in Saudi Arabia? Horse riding I can. But these are all the things that you could be doing because they totally are adequate to your surroundings. Another big trend is about cooking lessons. Now we've identified 4 big markets. There is a 5th market, which is of course very dear to my heart, and it is tourism for women, for groups of women, yes? Because there are things to do for that niche market, and I'm sure they have enough money to spend to enjoy activities. Cooking lessons for groups of women. That might be possible. What kind of cuisine would you learn? Local cuisine. You could look at local cuisine, but you could also look at the countries that are the most visited by Saudis when they go abroad, and you could organize cooking lessons for this type of cuisine. There is a reason why people choose to go there. It's because they enjoy the heritage and they enjoy the food. They go on holiday there and they come back and maybe they want to remember their holidays. So that's another activities that could be possible. And then we have a look at everything that has to do with art as well. Creating things. And again, these are things that we can bring home. And if we bring them home, then we remember the destination. And what you need to remember is that you are selling your excursions, but you are selling your destination. Yes, and you want people to come back. Now, a good company is a company that relies, as we said, on word of mouth and on repeat business for the majority of its clientele. So if you are capable, and there are companies in the UK that have got 70% of their business from existing clients that come back again and again and again, just because of the quality of the experiences that they offer and the quality of service and activities. So if I have a look at what's already available in Riyadh, it's just a quick internet search. If I wanted to, I could learn a language, or I could even learn how to take pictures, or I could learn how to paint. So these are activities, again, that can be included as part of attractions. And they already exist, they're already here. The only thing that needs to happen is someone to package these things to create an experience, to create a one-day, excursion or a half-a-day excursion, and to put it together. Heritage, history, discovering. Now, this is one of your biggest assets, heritage. You have a lot of heritage sites, and a lot is being done to invest in restoring them. A few ideas. Yes, we have city tours, but maybe you can think of different themes of city tours. For example, food tours around the city. A way you can make a guided tour about history really exciting is by telling the story in a different way. So forget about in 1200 blah 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 did this, in 1300 blah 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 did this, and then in 1400 X and X did this. Yes? This is boring. I'm on holiday. I want to have fun. Yes? I don't want to fall asleep. So you need to find a way to tell me the story of your country in a really exciting manner that engages me by telling me the story of the people, what's happened to them, how do you live. And history is not only the past, history is current. It's how you live now. How is your country changes? What are your hopes? All of this is part of things that I would want to know. Then we have the theme of conservation, and here we have two different things. We can engage in excursions that have to do with species that are being reintroduced and learn on how that was done. Or we can engage in conservation, in trying to protect species that are endangered. Yes? So for example, you have projects with turtles and whales and dugongs, because you have them all here. Everywhere in the world. In Mozambique, they have a Save the Dugong emergency fund. And tourists are coming and are helping. And the same with whales in New Zealand. And they have turtles all over in Ghana and in Costa Rica as well. Yes? So, spa and wellness is also a big trend. And I know that there has been some investment done in that here in Saudi. And then the last one, and the lady mentioned that earlier, this idea of sustainable tourism, responsible tourism, ecotourism. Yes? Any of these words that you see, can you match them to your culture? Can you read any of these words and do they resonate to you? Do you think that they match any of your principles? Anything? Yes?
You mean what these words?
With all these words here that you see about eco and responsible tourism, is there anything that you think is important to you out of these words? Do they matter to you? Do you connect to them? Do you think any of this is important? Food, okay. Where do I have food? Yes, okay. Do you care about the environment? Is it something that is of any issue? Yes, okay. So, what was interesting in my research, I found out that a lot of the halal influences actually match a lot of the principles of ecotourism and responsible tourism. So you can match this type of holidays also to your culture. It's a way, you just have to find a way you can communicate and appeal to people through those words and through those principles. And what I found is that it's a lot about respect and sharing local culture with communities, respect and protecting the environment, and giving back, and that these are principles of Islam. So you see that there is a lot of connection between this trend of ecotourism and actually your own culture. So, if we try to go back to what we have done and try to kind of conclude. So, what do we need to do in order to create an excursion? First of all, you need to listen to your clients. So these are a few conclusions of some research that has been done here in Saudi about what people want. So the most important thing was ongoing excitement, value for money. They want to do things at home. They just don't know what to do. Yes? And they want to relax with their family, with their children, with their partner. And they want, and the population of young people want to be able to have access to places, areas where they can be entertained. And we are not, everything has got to be within the limitation, within, I would say, within your culture. My interpretation of entertainment might not be the same as your interpretation of entertainment, yes? So there are a lot of different packages and products and experiences that you can develop that are entertaining, yes? So, first of all, you listen to your clients. Second of all, you have a look at what's available. What does your country offer? What is your heritage? When we speak about heritage, we look at it from several dimensions. We relate to heritage in different ways. We have our personal heritage. That is the heritage that you share with your family. Yes? You have the heritage with the community. So I come from a small town in France and I share the same things with these people from that small town. And then I have my regional heritage, which relates to all the things that I eat. Because there will be things, fruit and vegetables that will grow in my region and animals that will live in my region that I will eat. But if I go to the north of France or the south of France, they will not eat the same thing. And they will not enjoy the same recipes. So the way that I connect to my heritage will be very, very different. And then there is me being French, so of course I will eat my camembert and I will eat my baguette and I will love garlic. And there is me relating to the rest of the world and all the experiences that I have accumulated in all the countries that I have visited. That is all my heritage. So when you think about your clients, you also have to ask yourself, okay, have these people traveled a lot? What are they used to? What are their expectations? Maybe some of your clients won't have traveled a lot, but maybe some will have. And the type of products that you develop for these people will be different. So there are a lot of things that you need to think about when you put together a product, but it's very, very important that you know your customer. And then you have different types of heritage as well. You have your natural heritage. What other type of heritage do you have apart from natural? Man-made, okay, so built heritage. Very good, or historical heritage. Any other type of heritage? Pardon?
The archaeologists.
So that will be your built heritage. Any other type of heritage? Cultural heritage. Okay, so you have what we call cultural heritage, or actually what I call intangible heritage. Part of your culture is poetry. This is an amazing, this is something that is unique, yes? And that needs to be shared, it needs to be exploited, it needs to be explained, yes? Because not a lot of people are aware of this. And this is why I put the picture of Prince Khaled Al Faisal, if that's the way that you actually pronounce it properly. But his poetry, I really like it. I really engaged with it. I only discovered it, when I was doing my research. But I thought there were messages in there that were really fascinating and really great opportunities to create poetry workshops. Yes? Poetry evenings. Yes, sir.
Are you feeling interested for the culture? You are not speaking Arabic or understanding for that.
Those poems are translated. It really helps. But what we're talking about is the domestic market. It's not necessarily me as a foreigner. I was really, really attracted to that. But remember, you have to focus on the domestic market because this is your biggest market. And those people are going away and they really ought to spend more money in the country, which is the big problem of Saudi Arabia. So it is about you finding a way to share that culture between each other. For example, in France, we have philosophy evenings, where we go to the cafe and we will spend the whole evening talking about philosophy. That's how cathartic we are, yes? But you have poetry. And it's not only about contenting yourself with having an event because you have poetry festival. That's fine. But what is it that you do the rest of the year? Tourism doesn't only happen at one time. It has to happen all year long. Because otherwise you don't give things to people to do. And your job is to create experiences for people all year long so that you can earn money all year long. So, could someone tell me what is heritage? So we have this idea of experience, yes? I love this. Okay, we have the word. Whoops. Ta-da-da-da-da-dum. I don't know how to go back. I will find out. Okay, so heritage is whatever we want to preserve for the next generation, okay? And I go back to this idea of responsible tourism, ecotourism that we had before, yes? Because everything is linked. The thing that you have to find out is how you use that message to sell your excursions. So, we've said that you need to listen to your clients. You need to assess your heritage. What is it that you have that can be shared and sold? And you have to consider your values. What is it that you stand for? Who you are as people. And there will be things that will be very important to you. One of the things that I found that was really interesting is this idea that when people wanted to travel, they wanted to support community projects. So there is here another opportunity for another type of excursions, which is how can we go maybe into villages, maybe how can we support initiatives that will be very interesting that we want to share and gives us a purpose in our life. Really interesting values with regard to honesty, to responsibility, to respect, yes? And I find this value all the time, education. So obviously learning is very important. So what kind of activities can you create around this concept of learning? So in the end, what do? I take all that information and I try to see the light. Yes. And what is it telling me? So I get to this. I get to some trends on, in Saudi Arabia. What are people looking for? Well, holidays for single men, holidays for families, time and opportunities for couples to have time together, things that we can learn, things that we can share. Yes, I look at all these values, and this gives me lots of ideas for activities that I could create. And it would have been really useful if that picture had come up. More to do, value for money, we spoke about it, but spirituality, for example. So these are trends. This is what I see. After all the research that I've done, these are all the words that come up to me and tell me these are the things that I could work with if I wanted to create experiences or excursions here in Saudi Arabia. My top tips, though, before you start. Remember, we all tend to do what we want to do, what takes our fancy, but what matters is what the clients want. Yes? So always find out what is it that they're looking for. And then you, as a person, are more likely to enjoy specific type of tourists than others. So it might be that you're very good at handling young men. It might be that you prefer working with families. And that will affect the quality of the work that you're doing. So what is it that your company wants to do as well? Don't try to cater for everyone at once. It won't work. You'll get lost. Start with one target market and then see how it works and then develop other, but go bit by bit. Okay, I have to finish. So very quickly, when you create an experience, you have to make sure that it's affordable, that it's fun, that it's educational, that it engages people, that you can create things together, that people will remember it when they go home, that it is unique and authentic. And the only reason and the only way it can be unique and authentic if it's your culture. Culture is the thing that differs us from each other. That's the only thing that is a difference, is our culture. That's what you have to sell. And then make sure it's respectful of the communities as well, because it is ingrained in your culture. So offer something new, something that's not in Saudi Arabia, something that's not done elsewhere. Something and somewhere new, a different destination, a different place that people haven't been to, as long as you can get there, yes? And then offer something that's different, that's more. Do you have expertise? Can you add little tiny thing to the service that will make the difference? Little details. How do you tell a story? Is it exciting? What can you offer to your customers? So, my last task, and of course I've run over time, was to ask you to create an excursion. So we can't do that together because I've got to finish. However, if you want to take a picture of that slide, and then my homework for today is for you to do that at home, yes? Definitely, these are the questions and this is where you have to start if you want to create an excursion. So, if you want to learn more, on my website, you can actually find a manual that you can download that gives you a list of stages that you can run through. And shukran. Do you have the camera? I just want to take a picture.
I'm out of battery.